Alright everybody, I'm back again with another certified hood classic, man. You know, last week I actually went outside and finally touched some grass, as y'all wanted to say, but now I'm back inside and I'll never do that shit again. But of course, as I proceed, I gotta ask, how's your days going? How was everything going? How was your past week? Because for today's video, we gotta take a trip down memory lane, alright? Now, a long time ago, I made a video called Ho Scaring Music, and of course, it was basically just talking about music that would get you kicked out of the car, essentially. But now that my content has kind of changed into what it is now, I kind of want to go back on this topic and elaborate on it a bit more instead of just the usual 4-minute video format I was doing like a year ago. So like, as I've said before, you know, I listen to all kinds of bullshit. You know, if I haven't mentioned it before, I'll say it now. I will listen to genuinely anything, and I can proudly say that I am banned from the aux in at least 10 cars because for some odd reason nobody wants to bump Mersbo with me. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, music taste is subjective, as I said. So if you want to jump down the rabbit hole of subjectively weird music with me, just go on and hop in a white van. All right, I would say I have candy, but it's all just Werther's originals because those are my favorite. So, you know, it's your first time diving into this kind of music. You know, it's your first time in the rabbit hole. All right, you are a virgin to the entire experience. It kind of hurts when you put it all the way in. I get it, I understand. Okay, but what I would say is that if you're going to start anywhere with disturbing music, a good example would probably be the Australian singer Uboa and her album The Origin of My Depression. Now, for the people who are part of r/Fantano Forever, you more likely know about this album. Anybody in any online music sphere knows about this album. And you're probably thinking, well, this is kind of a weird album to recommend to people as some sort of first introduction into, you know, the weirder side of music genres. For me personally, I think it's, you know, that unsettling feeling listening to this album, that creepy aura, the distortion. You know, I feel like it's that I feel like makes this album a lot more appealing to me. Even when I was, you know, just getting into this side of music, this album derives from the subgenre of drone metal, which is basically like metal slowed down times 1,000. If you're really trying to find something that just really is going to throw you off kilter, I feel like this does a really good job at it. Well, at the same time, it's not even that deep down a rabbit hole. Like, I feel like this album is only like second tier on the Iceberg, if we're being honest. And moving on, while still being on said Iceberg, of just weird and disturbing artists and music, another example would be Death Grips. We all know Death Grips, right? Everybody, I feel like at this point, knows Death Grips. They're probably one of the most popular bands on any online music sphere out there. They usually tend to be treated as the, oh, you just wouldn't get it, I'm so different ass band. You know, it's like when people want to listen to Mac DeMarco whenever they want to say they're like on some like different kind of timing, but it's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Everybody knows Mac DeMarco. When it goes to Death Grips, they're basically like the tip of the iceberg, but they, at the same time, that does not necessarily mean that they are like not weird or disturbing or whatever. They definitely have their fair share of tunes that can be pretty offsetting for the average non-Death Grips fan. I mean, my two favorite albums for them are No Love Deep Web and Government Plates, and they're mainly based in this industrial rap, metal inspired, power noise, lots of screaming, this weird ass concoction that makes you want to go, Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? And I mean, while it's definitely an acquired taste, as I said before, albums like No Love Deep Web and Government Plates, for me at least, can still make this band seem very appealing to even certain casual listeners. You got tracks like Artificial Death in the West, Big House, and my favorite track, You Might Think He Loves You for Your Money, but I Know What He Really Loves You For. It's your brand new leopard skin pillbox hat. That all kind of give me something that feels a bit more palatable, while at the same time bending beyond traditional sound to still at least give me that feeling of like I'm in something completely different that I wasn't used to before, and I respect that. But while I could talk about like drone metal and industrial rap all day, let's get into some other sounds that you usually wouldn't think too heavily on finding weird music from, but believe it or not, it's there. So like, if you guys didn't know, I'm like a really big ambient music fan. It's actually one of my more listened to genres of music out there, you know. I love Brian Eno, I love Aphex Twin, and I love John Hassel. I'll listen to those guys like all the time. But the thing is, right, if you look behind me and you see this guy facing right there to like pointing to like the left or the right, I don't know my left and rights, okay? That's Huerco S, and he is arguably one of my most favorite electronic artists probably of all time. And the reason why is because, one, he is considered a pioneer of the outsider house genre, which is basically like a toned down more mellow version of house music and techno music. It's mainly just relying on like, you know, ambient synths and like minimal 808s kind of repeating itself over and over. You know, it's good if you're studying, you know, if you're in school, and it's also good if you're plotting any union busting techniques if you work for HR. But while I can talk about like his outsider house genre all day, instead this time I want to talk about his also pretty notable ambient side. So 2 years ago he released an album called Plonk, right? And this is genuinely one of the best albums I've heard in the 2020s. Since 2020 began and albums first started dropping, Plonk by Huerco S genuinely has stood out the strongest for me. And it is an album I still go back to over and over and over, whether it be for casual listening, whether it be for trying to dissect it more, trying to break it down more, or just for some sort of just weird out-of-body experience I'm trying to have. You know, you can get that sort of spacious ambiance feeling with Plonk 10, or you can maybe go for like the techno-electronica sound with Plonk 4, or if you're feeling something more spoken word and just straight up just out-of-body experience shit like I did, you can go for Plonk 9 featuring the fellow rapper Sir EU. But while I can spend all day going around different angles and whatnot, blah 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 blah, of different artists in different subgenres that might throw people off, we can't talk about weird, disturbing, off-putting music without talking about our final artist here, Juju. Now, if you're in any online music sphere, right, you've more likely seen this album cover somewhere. There's no way you can miss out on one of the most sexiest album covers of all time. Now, these guys got a discography dating back to the early 2000s, and they have essentially became the poster child of "You're never touching the aux cord again." And when it comes to their album, A Promise, it has definitely became, once again, the poster child of just upsetting, disturbing, sad, depressing music that not everybody can really get into. It's definitely a acquired taste per se. I mean, when listening to this album, my most favorite song on here is 20,000 Deaths for Edelyn Gonzalez, 20,000 Deaths for Jamie Patterson, which is this electronic noise mix with some of the most monotone and dragging vocals from the lead singer Jamie Stewart that basically sounds like you're hearing somebody cry over a phone. Like, I don't know, that's the kind of vibes they give off. That awkward feeling of just, you can feel the dread in Jamie's voice, you know? And then when you look back at the subject matter of this album, the reason why it's even called A Promise is because, you know, Jamie Stewart, the lead singer, lead vocalist, and the guy who plays like 90% of the instruments, actually made a promise to his own mother that he wouldn't game end himself. And the person on the cover here is actually a Vietnamese sex worker. So shout out to this person, support your local sex workers, I don't know. But when going back to A Promise, it has all these little tales just talking about, you know, occurrences in Jamie's life, but that can be greatly overshadowed by this creepy aura that the instrumentals can give off and the loud distortion. It's like it's all very in your face. But of course, this album still slaps alongside their other works such as Fabulous Muscles, Oh No, and the previously mentioned Knife Play, which I'd recommend you check out as well. But that's basically the rundown for today. This is just what I wanted to be able to talk about, just weird music for people who want to get into weird music. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm just giving you a little taste of what you could be able to get into in the future. If you really want to get into some weird shit, man, you can go online. You know, there's Rate Your Music, there's Reddit, whatever the hell. You could find anything anywhere. Go on Bandcamp, support a Bandcamp artist who probably got some weird ass shit for you to like too. And I'll just be here listening to Don Diasco all day. So I love you all. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you next Monday. Peace out.
Oh, that's a lot of money, eh? Can I have some money? Money? What the barnacles? Oh no, me heart stopped! I'm fucking dying!